Barb?
Yeah.
I want to start out just by you doing a simple test. Okay, so hold up your finger. And the test is, do I have scoliosis in any of my bodies?
Yes. I guess that I have it like in my astral and my spiral body.
Okay, so you test it's in your astral and spiral body. Okay, Franny, first help her take it out of those bodies. Okay? So,
Okay, well...
Franny, you go ahead and start with that.
Can you just wait 1 second?
Well, you're getting on the accelerator. Well, I'll do it with her. You should get the accelerator up.
Yeah.
Barb, so just say I'm now removing scoliosis from my spiral body.
Scoliosis from my spiral body. Yes.
Okay, the spiral body controls DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
And a person, let's say there's a teenager watching this, somebody who's 14 years old and has just been diagnosed with very early scoliosis, very early onset. And if she does what you just did, or he, the scoliosis, the whole idea is to stop the scoliosis from creating any deformity. That would be a cure, you know,
right.
where she stops finding it after finding it every day. Like, have you been checking yourself for scoliosis every day?
I've been mostly focusing on maintaining the change I experienced the other day when we worked, but...
So you ask, like when you wake up in the morning, do you ask...
Noticing what's gone. No, not check.
Okay, every time you sleep, you need to test for scoliosis. Or if you feel, like, do you notice a feeling that you have when you have scoliosis in your spiral body that's gone when you, like right now, test this question. Do I have scoliosis in my spiral body?
No, I don't.
You get no. Okay, hold your finger up when you're testing so people can... All right. And then, now, when you take it out and it's gone, is there a change in the way you feel? Like, is something missing? Is something gone?
Yeah, I feel like a little more... less stuck in my physical body, a little more outside of it.
So could you recognize that feeling of having scoliosis if you have that feeling again? Would you be able to stop and say, hey, wait a minute, I'm feeling like I've got scoliosis, and could you then test? Are you able to do that?
Yeah.
You tested, yes, right? I so notice your finger just moved.
Yeah, I'm testing on it.
Okay, so when you wake up, test for it, and also watch yourself and see if that feeling of having scoliosis comes back to you. Okay?
Yep.
Because this is an ongoing thing. Now, you're 54 years old. Is that right?
Right.
And your scoliosis happened when you were diagnosed when you were, I guess, 16?
15, I guess, yeah.
15. You were diagnosed at 15. And your Harrington rods were put in when you were, what, 16 or 17?
17, yeah.
17. Mm-hmm. So you know, as far as the medical establishment, that your doctors were concerned, the scoliosis was, you know, handled years ago, right?
Yes.
Because it was over. That's an over. But in you're still finding it.
Yeah.
And you've cured over the years. You've been doing this since 1994, and you've cured herpes. You got a negative medical test on herpes. You got a negative medical test on Epstein-Barr. There is no medical test for scoliosis. But you never thought to test until a few weeks ago whether you had scoliosis in any of your bodies. We never checked you for it. I don't remember ever having checked you over all the years when I was first doing this with you in 1995.
Yeah.
I never checked you for it. And you just checked for it and you found it. And test this question. Is scoliosis something that people carry from life to life?
Yeah, I'm getting that I did. Yes.
Franny, what do you get?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's in the gravitational and spiral bodies. And you don't lose those bodies when you die.
Right.
So now, Franny, who's your testing buddy for today? Hi, Bono. Franny's here to save the day. And Franny, you test with Barb through the accelerator for this.
Okay.
Scoliosis.
Scoliosis.
Scoliosis. Idiopathic scoliosis.
Well, I know if I had asked you this question, what's gone at last? But just for the record.
Yeah. Something is gone, I know that. I mean, it slightly reoccurs, but it's definitely gone. We removed something that day that you and I worked. What's gone? What's gone is the deadness, I think, or the experience of being fixed within those two rods. Like I'm feeling more activity in the spine, or just being aware of that spine, and the subtle feels related to each vertebrae, I guess you could say.
Uh-huh.
I feel a little bit above, outside of myself, but in a stabilized way, not in like a out-of-body way.
Right. Boy, that's a great feeling.
It is. I mean, yesterday I walked to this big, I've been really like by myself a lot, or just like one-on-one with people, or doing this for weeks. And then yesterday I walked into this event where there was a sea of people, and like just like a sea of people, and it kind of felt like suddenly I just melted into it reminded me of that scene in The Silence of the Lambs when Anthony Hopkins gets off the plane, he sort of disappears, and he's like, with the nice Chianti, that one, where he was, and suddenly I just felt like I felt myself just disappear, but I was there, but sort of rising, like just floating in a good way. When I enjoyed my.
So that's a new behavior, right?
Yeah, it's just a new sensation. I feel I'm less sensitive to the energies of others, and just aligned with something higher, and just more stabilized in my physical body.
I have to say that I saw one of those operations that you had. Boy, that was gruesome.
I know, I saw it too. I had to cover my eyes and parts of it. I saw it like 10 years after somebody had a PBS tape of the operation. It's very different now. I looked it up on YouTube. Now they just put one long, looks like a almost plastic thing in there. And there's not so much metal and hardware. And it was when I saw the video, you saw it's very loud and it's very mechanical. There's like machines, like drills. So
yeah. Have you gotten up? This is a departure, but did you ever get over through the trauma of having that operation?
I don't know.
I guess no.
Neither do I. I've had 2 operations in my life that I don't think I got totally over either of them. And actually the minor one was more serious, but I think it made me a little more tense. I don't know if I got over it or not.
All right, well, we'll work on that. Let's just complete. What have you moved away from? Like, what, are you moving towards something different?
I'm moving toward being like gentler with myself and not wanting so much to get somewhere from life. I'm accepting not like giving up, but accepting my situation in the moment more easily. Finding more, satisfaction more easily. I've had a history of being dissatisfied even before this happened, so
So you feel more satisfied?
Yeah, well, I feel like more like I'm able to be ad hoc or proactive about creating what I need in the moment.
You certainly have been a good manifester.
I know. Watch that.
I mean, that's really what, you're just pure manifestation.
I have to watch out. I have to not cut corners and break so many rules and stuff, though. I would follow the rules, but more I hold my adjustment more. But yeah, I'm a pretty good manifester. Yesterday, I really enjoy seeing. I have a very strong celestial body. Some layers. I'm directed. I think the spiral of my spine, which is really what it's doing more than I know. If you really look at what scoliosis is, there's a twisting too. It's not just like curving, but you're twisting. And so,
right.
And lately, ever since we started doing this, I keep manifesting people on the street in front of me or behind me, like crippled people or hunched over people, or and then there's certain, just souls that I merge with. Like yesterday when I was walking through that huge sea of people, like being like right, my face is right in. There's Allie McGraw, and then there's Chrissy Nixon, and there's like this fight, like just like a homing pigeon. I don't know how I do that, but I have to use these connections or something and be more proactive about that too, because I think I'm being guided by something. That's the part of my scoliosis that's still there.
You're being what by something?
I'm being like, I'm responding to something energetically that I had been contorting my body over in the past, where if I learn how to be more, like use some other bodies or do something else.
Okay, that's good. What other body could you use?
Well, there's something overactive about my mental body that I've seen lately. Use that less.
Well, reduce that right now.
Right.
Yeah. I have. Okay.
Okay, I guess you did that.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Well, maybe I'll tell you a story to illustrate the difference. Like last night,
All right.
I was out here in the street, where I've been, I've been here 20 years, and then never, there's a lot of young people. It's kind of like Ybor City, a lot of people out and doing their thing, and suddenly I had this experience that reminded me of that movie Unbreakable, where suddenly I could hear every conversation, like for a whole block, like I could see. It's like I think I went to the fifth dimension or something, and suddenly I could, everything shifted, and I saw everything from a different way, and I could even hear things. I could just look at a group of people talking, and I could hear their actual conversation. And same street, same block I've always been on, but suddenly I was in a different place with it, and I felt really grounded too. It's also different, as I feel very in touch with like the earth. And like, my feet on the street or the earth more than I used to. Like it wasn't a heady experience, it was just like a really human. Like since we've done this, I feel like my body more. I think I was really scared or seeing myself as very fragile physically. So maybe I was overusing my mental body to protect my physical or something. But I felt like right in there with the people, but more like I had buffering. I saw layers of things rather than trying to get really high over it or sneak underneath it. I was right in the middle of it, but I could feel the...
Are you saying that this is a signal that you were healthy?
Yeah, it was it felt like a healthy feeling. It felt stable.
So you're saying, okay...
I felt like I had choices, like I could choose to come and go. I didn't feel cold or like I needed or wanted anything. I just felt like I was there.
That's really an important thing for people watching this. See, they don't... I mean, your story sounds good, but unless you let them know that this means no scoliosis.
Yeah, that's true. With the scoliosis.
What does that mean?
Yeah, they don't understand that what you're talking about, you're trying to give the person watching this a roadmap so that they can tell when their scoliosis is clearing up and when it's getting worse.
Okay. Well, the signal was that there was an absence of something. There was an absence of needing to change my state or get out of my body, or, I was just stable. I was, straight. I was just there. Where I think with the scoliosis, there's like an urge to respond to something or maneuver in between something. But the experience that I'm describing is I just felt...
well, I think your level of awareness has gone up. I noticed, even for me, after doing these sessions, that like I was in the car and I heard this sound in the car, like I could hear everything the car was doing. And then when I was in the shower, I heard the water going through the actual shower. Like all these things seemed like, I know that feeling where it's like everything around you is very, very crispy clear, and very audible. I took that as a big difference in myself.
Yeah, it's nice. It's interesting. It makes it.
Unless we go crazy because we hear it.
I know. And you have to have this.
That we're not going to do.
See, another thing, I don't think people understand why we're still working on scoliosis.
Yeah.
And the reason is that you're still experiencing negative effects of the disease in your spiritual reality.
That's right.
I.e. being crippled.
Yeah.
And that what you're really sharing about is being less crippled.
Yeah, less dysfunctional.
Functioning normally and feeling better. And that people don't get that you've had a lifelong bad feeling.
Yeah, that's true.
Like for you, ever since I met you in 1984. And people could see it, but nobody ever knew what it was, including you or me. And we've just recently tested that at least a part of it is this. And the other day when you were in the meeting on Friday, you were amazing. You were powerful. You were a clear voice speaking to everyone. You were like the farthest thing from crippled.
Right. That's good. That's a result.
Yeah. So it looks like what you've been doing for the past few weeks has been working.
It's funny because this all started when I was actually like really in pain again. Remember, I was having that issue in my neck, and then we realized I was doing something with my posture, and then that related back to the scoliosis, and now that's gone for the most part. Or when it's there, I can remove it fast.
Well, also one of your symptoms has been drug addiction.
Yeah, I don't have any urge for that anymore. It's really amazing. That's kind of miraculous too.
Well, you've been a cocaine addict, and also you've been an addict to like emotional, like you've created toxic emotional situations in your relationships.
Yeah.
Like test this question: have I ever rejected anyone because they surrendered to me and loved me?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was something that wrecked your relationships.
Right.
Like if you can get to the bottom of this,
Well, yeah, I would like to.
maybe you can have a relationship. Maybe it'll ultimately end up with you not being a drug addict and having a relationship.
Well, the other thing, I don't know if this is relevant for this show, but that I've been noticing or is concerning me is like my last 3 relationships, and I noticed that I'm starting this up again, is I'm attracting people or being with people who have, serious health problems, relatively serious. And when they, like you said, if they surrender to me, I suddenly seem to reject them, and then I get kind of scared, like, oh, am I entering into a whole nother thing where I'm going to spend most of my life like dealing with this person's, limitations or issues or.
Well, Barb, there's a solution to that, which is I did this in college once where I used to attract all these kind of crazy people, and everything. And one night, this woman called me up and told me she was going to kill herself. And I've told this story before, and I just said, no, you're not. You know, I never knew what actually happened to her, but I decided after that night that I was never going to attract those kind of people again.
Yeah.
And you just make a decision, that's your choice. Like, you're not gonna, you know.
I've been attracting way more like together people as friends and more, you know, in more productive situations. But I noticed that when I can choose, I'll choose the person that's not necessarily the healthy, like that's like me, or not that I'm that healthy, but I choose someone that's very different, or like a curious to me, you know, or a totally different type of person.
So you can just make that choice, because that's a choice.
Yeah. I also think I can just choose to enjoy them the way they are. And
well, that's always very nice. But
fixate so much. Yeah. I mean, I'm alone. So, I mean, my people I spend, like my day-to-day friends are not really that crazy, or that I only have one at a time now, but like this guy Michael. But, you know, like a love relationship, I seem to find the people that are most, you know, mysterious or curious or, you know, troubled, a little bit troubled.
well, let's see, you've covered new feelings. What do you see that you didn't see before? What's gone? What have you let go of? What else can you drop? What are you no longer attached about having or being? What did you discover? And sort of how does this relate to other things in your life? So check, are you still in the calm, clear place?
Yes.
Good.
Not attached to having or being anything that I don't have. I let people go easier. I used to get very fixated, super fixated. I mean, at least I'm noticing that. That's one of the things I got from my last session with you, is I'm noticing what I do, and I'm like, oh, there's that. I can step away from it faster. Like that experience I had last night, I can shift dimensions easier and go, wow. Mm-hmm. Like I'm seeing virtual realities that I create faster.
Right. Well, this is part of what Accelerator asks for. It's like, what are your old behaviors that you can move away from, and easy behaviors that you can move toward, new possibilities for achievement? Do you see anything that you can achieve differently?
Oh, that's a good point. Oh no. That's the part that's been tricky, is just to stay. I felt kind of, like I had that experience that you had the other day where my heart was, like I felt high-hearted, and my heart was, seemed like it was having a regular heart. Yeah. And I think I have some, I never thought this would happen to me, but issues about, you know, being older, or like my, you know, that it's half over now, so what am I going to do, or what am I doing?
Right.
How's it going to end up, or what, you know, what do I want to do now, or what, you know, so.
Well, I think to start, it's a good idea to sort of commend yourself for what you've already done.
You're right.
That's good, and then build on that.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the processes from this little course that I took with one of our graduates. I forgot what the name of it was, but basically you have to have a clear picture of where you are in order to go forward, because if you have a picture of where you were before, you go as far with what you're doing.
Right.
Because you want to have a really realistic picture of what you've achieved, where you would like to go next.
Yeah. Well, you're reminding me of something that I wanted to mention, because like when I you know, I grew up in Wisconsin. When I was younger, I always remember being able to create distance through using my mind or my words. Like we used to laugh about me being an intimacy avoider, and I always was able to create, even before I had that back brace on, like I'm good at avoiding closeness with people. I'm not, and then you know, it was like a survival technique of some sort, but now I feel like there's something wrong with that, like that I should be more normal and relaxed and just be more, like I've made it a lifestyle to be kind of separate, and I don't know if I really want to change it.
Well, test if you really are separate from people, because go ahead, test.
No.
Well, so then that's an idea that you've had that isn't.
Yeah, actually that's true, because sometimes I feel like I'm doing my job. Like last night when I came in a little earlier than the rest of the people, and then also I was talking to somebody and I cut that off, and also just went to bed. Like I need, like I get do so much work in my sleep, or even just when I'm just thinking, you know, I see things, and I think it's almost feels like I'm being responsible when I do that. Like I have to integrate everything and keep track of everything. I can't just. All right, well that's good. I feel better about that.
Yeah. So that was just an idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What's your next, like any next steps that you can see?
I have to keep bonding with allies and demonstrating, you know, my worthiness as a, person to support, take care of whatever I have going on.
That's a very interesting thing you just said. I want to go back to it a minute. You said I have to continue to demonstrate my worthiness as someone who deserves support. No, you know what? I think that's right on the money. I totally agree. I do that.
It's funny. Like I got addicted to it. I guess I feel like that's replaced my old addiction. Now I'm into it. Like I'm actually addicted to doing well and making good choices, or
Yep.
choices that blow people's mind. Like
Mm-hmm.
like it's fun. It's like it's definitely got a cumulative effect.
And you know what?
Huh.
When I've changed, the disembodied voice in this movie has changed. Because when now other people also have to demonstrate their worthiness for me to support them, or I pull away.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so good that that's great. That's good.
Like the other day, remember when we were asking Ross how she's taught so many people how to cure things? Like, what's the secret of her success? She's just a simple teacher of English in Italy. Mm-hmm. She teaches English to Italians. Mm-hmm. And she, is a worker, one of the regular, Joe worker bees, how does she teach so many people how to cure things? And what came out is that she makes many, many good micro choices about whether they're worth working with. Right. And if they are, then she homes in on them. And if they're not, she veers off to somebody else. She just goes to another person.
Yeah.
So you don't see all the people that failed. All you ever see with Ross is all the successes. She has all these stories about people who've cured tumors and flu and everything else,
Yeah. That's cool.
Because she just makes choices about who to help. Mm-hmm. And that's based on their worthiness. And see, you're right. Like, you are showing yourself as worthy. To me, you look worthy.
Yeah.
And I think I'm starting to be a better judge of who's worthy. I don't know if I was a very good judge for a long time.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because the more I do that, the more I don't feel like I need the support. So I'm probably, I get less attached to it because I start supporting myself, and then.
Well, also when you're getting support from some people,
yeah,
then you don't need so much support from the next person.
Yeah.
Like I'm noticing that you're living in that space there, which is a really beautiful space, and it's totally perfect for you.
Yeah, it is.
It's really something you manifested, and was not. It's something that a friend of yours gave you to live in.
Yeah, I kind of earned it. Yeah.
And you earned it, but also you get to be around her too, so you get continuing support. She doesn't live there, but she comes there every day.
Yeah.
So almost every day anyway, so you get to see and interact with her, so you can get to continue with one of your allies. You get to move closer to an ally, as well as getting a nice place to live. And you rented your apartment and moved into this place. So, okay, so now test, is this good enough for our scoliosis session for now?
Well, I just like to, I get that she still could say a few things about
Okay,
trauma.
go ahead.
So, Mark, you still have trauma left over from the operation.
Yeah.
Were you doing something to yourself or to somebody else?
I contracted and, you know, I guess.
So is that
I think I agreed that I
yourself, or I guess it's against yourself and against other people.
Yeah, I decided I was like sort of done physically, or just had limits. It's funny though, like I'm remembering back when I lived in Florida the last time in Tampa, and how I used to just run on the beach, and I guess it's all management. But what did I do to myself? I think it's just separated from my physical body a little bit, maybe. I'm not sure. What did I do? Push people away. Kept people at arm's distance. Including my family, my mother. A little less trust of people. Something. Oh.
Did you clear it yet?
Yeah. Let's see.
Okay, well, that's good. Now you don't have to sink into the bad feelings. You look like you were gonna, like.
I am. Yeah.
Well, you know, alongside of all those things that you just mentioned about what you were doing, you were also, I mean, I saw you moving towards people, because when you lived in here, you know, you used to have people come to us. So you know, you still have a lot of power in that area. You're very social.
Yeah. I think to do, you know, now that I'm older and I got more serious about my, you know, career with what we're doing together, I think it's so smart that we've used the internet, because it protects us too. It protects, you know, it causes people to be at a different place by the time they're, you know, talking to you. Or
that's right.
And I think before I really exhausted myself by spending so much time with so many different kinds of people,
right,
that I didn't have the option to say no to, or I didn't feel like I could, or just keep a proper distance.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Are you in the calm, clear place now?
Yes.
Good. Are you more able to create in front?
I'm trying to think of who would watch this movie. I'm trying to think of, am I more able to which?
Create confront.
Create confront? Yeah. I have been creating more confront lately, actually. It's fun. I feel like I'm picking them off one by one. That's why this place is a good place. I feel like I'm up in a turret. Take better shots. I'm ready to take some shots.
Right. Okay, well, why don't you integrate all the changes that you talked about into your various bodies?
Okay. Something unsettling. Okay. I'm also letting go of not, you know. No. Okay.
Of what?
Well, we've talked so much about this space here. Like this, really, I have to let go of this, knowing of this being permanent. Because it's really just kind of a.
You think the space you're in is?
Well, I don't want to get too attached, because it's not a permanent situation right now.
So are you attached?
Slightly. I'm getting there, but I've been removing that as it comes up.
Okay, good. Is that the interference in the future? Like from?
I would like want something like this for myself. I mean, I've so wanted something like this for myself that I just sort of make things mine when they're not always. I have to watch that, but yeah, I mean, I feel okay with everything.
Okay.
I have a good relationship with Nancy.
Yeah. Well, you have to acknowledge that however long you do have it, you did manifest it for yourself, and you're getting the benefit of it.
Yeah, I'm using it. So it seems like it's definitely, there was a mission I was on, and why I brought this into being, so that is happening.
Okay.
Huh. Now I keep thinking about my aunt. Like I feel like I don't really have control over anything. In my astrological chart, though, it's like whatever it is about, you know, your money, like the thing about my house of money or whatever, right. It's in other people's money. That's what they, like that, this was the way it was going to turn out. Like I manage other people's things or other people's money, other people's resources. So I better get used to that, because even like that apartment isn't really, you know, mine. Like I think it's really like, but so it's slightly unsettling, but it's good. I'm learning.
Well, you know, like wanting and having, like that thing from Star Trek, wanting and having are two different things. But yeah. You know, you have given yourself a certain amount from that. I mean, you still have it, but you know, maybe nothing really belongs to anybody.
You know, I'm also much more responsible. I remember at the New York, like all the kind of basic things I used to learn from people like Pinto and Tim Johnson and those guys, just about, you know, living in a communal space, or like being precise about things, or putting something back and all that, and being responsible. And that was so new to me, because I was back when I was living in New York, because I was raised, you know, in a way of being responsible, but I was basically had the run of the place wherever I was.
Right.
So that was how
well, I know I was managing your space, you know, so that I guess you know, this space is someone else's, and so you have to kind of like use your stuff all the time. And
well, it's cool because it's good though, because now I'm kind of like the teacher in that area here. Like they've all moved up many notches from having me here.
Right.
Because work. So.
Well, you must be getting something out of all these experiences. See, like every experience you give yourself is something that you're getting something from. Like you're learning something, or you're giving something to somebody else. You're more like, as it relates to scoliosis, you're more flexible. You've not like gotten a place and sort of like hunkered down and collapsed in it. You know, you're.
Yeah, right. It's also, even in relationships, it's not all or nothing. Like that one prayer we say about having the experiences you need to have to do your work, to do
That's right.
Work. Like I'm more like taking stuff in stride like that, where before things could really devastate.
Also, the secret to any relationship, Barb, is that you have to be yourself.
Yeah, that's what we were saying yesterday. Be yourself and let go.
That's right. I mean, I told that to my nephew, and because he was just talking about his girlfriend at the time and how permanent it was and everything. And then I heard him later on telling somebody else he just had to be, you know, he repeated it back to me, like in our conversation, that he says, I just guess I have to be myself. And that's what it is. Like that's like if you want something or you don't want something, everything is good.
Everything's good. Yeah, that's a very freeing statement. It's one of those things that like my older brother or sister would say to you. And even Mayor Baba, that was his favorite quote, remember? To thine own self be true.
That's right.
So
in your relationships, you just be yourself. I'm sure you're interesting enough for somebody to be attracted to.
They're usually like 3,000 miles away. But that's fine.
Who's the big family?
Yeah, I get involved with people like long distance. And I think Everything's pretty good the way it is right now. So I have a dead dog.
Well, sometimes I think that you don't get involved with people so much as you focus on something that isn't necessarily, well, that's not being yourself, really. I mean, it is in a way and it isn't.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Sometimes people used to say that Bayard used to like to talk because he liked to hear himself talk. Like, I find myself doing that a lot.
And you're liking to hear yourself talk now.
Yeah, like I like to hear myself talk.
And your finger even, you got a signal on that. You just got a signal.
My friend Jeff will say, well, nice talking at you, or something.
And you know something, that's where you want to be. If you're enjoying it, somebody else will.
That's kind of what I figured.
If you're enjoying listening to yourself, somebody else will. And then there's all the people who hate you because you enjoy listening to yourself, and so that eliminates all of them. So it's a great sorting. It's a great sorting system. Like, you sort out all the people who are not your people that way.
That's true. I just keep talking right on over them.
Yeah, because if you're enjoying it and somebody else enjoys it, then you have a lot in common with that person already.
Yeah. That's good for some of these. I was talking to Alejandra the other day, and she was sort of blocking her fifth chakra, like as if something I was saying or doing was like hurting her fifth chakra, and then I got sort of self-conscious, like, gee, is what I'm doing harming more than hurting, or more than helping? You know, am I disturbing this person more than, you know, assisting them in getting calm? You know, she was saying something like, well, now I'm panicking worse than I was before. And then I had that series of like, I stopped whatever I was doing and I readjusted, but it got me looking at, like, what am I, you know, I'm just sort of doing things for myself sometimes too.
What you just said a true statement. That's true.
There's a give and a take. There's something like that. She and I.
It's not a true. I tested it. Was not a true statement.
Good.
So in other words, I do. This is another thing that you can, like, having back problems is like taking the weight of the world on your shoulders.
Yeah.
And you're the one who causes somebody, that's bullshit.
Okay. Right. It's amazing.
I mean, it's good that you readjust yourself or see something to do differently, but I wouldn't blame yourself.
But someone pointed out also, like, how often I'll say sorry. Like, I say I'm sorry a lot during the day, or I say, you know, I do feel like responsible for everything, and then it's the point where I will say I'm sorry for everything that happens too.
And now, test, is that gone?
Yeah, it's more gone.
Do I have scoliosis in any of my bodies?
Well,
so you've got it out for now.
Right.
And you're different, and you're talking. See, again, I just want to say that for somebody listening to this, a lot of times they don't understand why you're saying the things you're saying, and you're actually telling them what to look for when they cure their scoliosis. That these are the things, these differences in you, you're talking about the way you were and the way you are now, all these subtle changes. This is what it is to cure. And some of these are not about curing scoliosis. They're just things that could cause the person to fall into scoliosis and reinfect themselves. Even though they're not direct causes of it, they're cofactors.
yeah. Reinfect myself.
So, you know what? I think that this is probably good for our session today. We don't have to go on anymore or switch and do Franny's weight loss thing today. We can just make another...
We have all the time in the world.
We do. We can make another appointment because getting on lunchtime here and...
Okay. Thanks a lot, you guys.
Well, it's really a pleasure to do this with you, Barb. And, you know, you're the person who's founding our Scoliosis Cure Program.
I love you guys. Thanks a lot.
You're going to help a bunch of young girls who are coming with scoliosis, and their doctors are helpless to do anything for them.
I wonder if there's many old people out there that have my thing going on.
Well, I don't know if they have your thing, but my father has a really bad curve in his spine, and he's been doing, like, he's just starting to figure out what to do about. It came on gradually, got worse and worse.
Well, I will tell you, Barb, that probably any person who is your age and had scoliosis at your age has what you have and what you're curing. Every single one, probably. It's probable that they all have it. Now, we may get somebody bouncing in here who says they had it and they cured it, they got past it somehow.
Yeah, like Norma.
So, but you know, if we had Norma on here, we were testing her, she might get yes on everything you got yes on.
Yeah, that might be true too.
You know, because Norma is a great one to mask what's going on, what's wrong with her.
Yeah.
You know, she always tries to produce an illusion that she's okay when she isn't. And you know, you talk with her for a little while and you realize that she isn't okay, but she's always desperately wants people to think she is. You know, she doesn't think people will accept her if she shows vulnerability. She's afraid to be vulnerable. Well, all right then. Thank you, Barb, and we will make another appointment for another day.